Welcome everyone to another episode of Lessons Learned. My name is Vincent Vessa. I am an author, the founder of HTN, Hidden Treasure Novels, regional representative for the North Carolina Writers Network, a member of the Association of Christian Fiction Writers. And I am so pleased today to introduce to you guest author, also member of the ACFW, Hope Doherty. And Hope is going to share some lessons with you today that she's learned as a writer, as a published author. I turn it over to you, Hope.
Good morning. Thank you for having me, Vincent. And just one little tiny thing, and we didn't talk about this, but my last name is Doherty. That's the way my husband's family pronounced it, like D-O-C-K.
Thank you so much for that correction.
That's fine. I didn't think about it until we started talking. Anyway, yes, the first lesson is writing is a business if you want to publish. I think I had in my mind that writers would just stay up, and this is where I write, a corner of our bonus room. And I just envisioned, myself doing this. I didn't think about the other side until I went to my first writers conference, which is Blue Ridge Mountains Christian Writers Conference. And that's where I started meeting editors and agents, as well as other writers, yes. But I realized that writers don't just write alone. There's a whole extra side. If you want to publish, you have to think about writing for other people. We're creative people, but we also have to have that practical side and think about things beyond beyond the characters that we're writing and the plots we're coming up with in our minds.
Wow, thank you for sharing that. Hope, your second lesson that you wanted to talk about was building your community. And I know we belong to that community of Christian fiction writers. Could you tell us a little bit more about, what you envision when you're asking authors, writers who aspire to be authors, what you mean by building your community?
Sure. I have two parts to this, to build your community. As writers, normally our writing time is lonely. We're writing by ourselves. Our day might be peopled with the characters we're coming up with if we're writing fiction. But for the most part, we're writing by ourselves. And so it's really important that you build a community of writers. And you can do that, like I said, with going to writers' conferences or retreats or workshops, so that you can meet other writers in person. But you can also do that with online writing groups. It's important to meet other like-minded people. So that's what I mean by that. But also, if you want to publish, then you want to have readers. So it's important to build those readers, and you do that today through social media. Writers are, for the most part, introverts, and we might not enjoy social media so much, but it's really important to start honing those, fostering, nurturing those relationships with people who could be potential readers. And so that's what I mean also by building community, building up people who enjoy knowing you, enjoy interacting with you on social media, and enjoy reading what you're writing. So that's what I mean.
Exactly. And I so agree with you on that. It kind of leads to the third lesson that you wanted to share with us, and I let you expand on that because it is so true. Persevere and be patient.
I think persevering is really important. I think it's important to write every day. I have a card on my letterbox and note card box, and it says, "Don't be a writer, be writing." And I think of professional athletes and professional musicians. They practice every day, they train every day so that they can be the best that they can be. And so writers need to do that same thing. We need to write every day. And I include all kinds of writing in that. I mentioned my note card box. I have a writing ministry, so I write real note cards or letters every day. And I also count journal entries. And if I'm writing a blog or any kind of writing, I count as writing every day, as well as the project that I'm working on. So I think that's important. I think that being patient is also important, because publication normally doesn't happen as quickly as people might believe. In one of the classes I took early on, one of the teachers said the average time from beginning to publication, beginning a project, beginning a manuscript, is 6 years. I started writing. I didn't know it was going to be a novel. I just kept calling it my writing project. I started writing what became Irish Encounter, my first publication, in 2009, in May of 2009. And I started going to writing conferences and meeting people, like I've mentioned. And in 2015, in fact, May of 2015, my first novel was published, and that's exactly 6 years. So I'm average. So it might happen more quickly than that for some people, but 6 years is average, and that's kind of a long time. For others, it takes a little bit longer, but be patient. If you keep honing your craft, if you are fostering all these relationships with other writers and potential readers, it's going to happen. That's what people kept telling me.
Wow, that is so true. And it's interesting that we both published our debut novel in the same year of 2015.
2015.
Hope, could you share a little bit about your books? I started with the first three out here, and I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about each story and how it evolved, and
Okay.
and so forth.
Sure. I mentioned that Irish Encounter is my first novel. It was published in May of 2015, and it is partially set in Galway, Ireland. My family and I have taken several home exchanges where we exchanged the house with a family in Ireland. We've done that 3 times. And love it. We love Ireland. My husband's ancestors are Irish. And so it starts in Galway with Americans, and it's that book is also the main characters are older compared to most romance characters. They're set in they're 40-ish. That's when the story takes place for them. So they have histories. Each of them has histories, and they meet each other in Galway, and then the story continues back in North Carolina. But it's a second chance at romance for both Ellen Shepherd and Payne Anderson.
And so the other stories is it a series? Are they independent? Do you need to read one before you read the other?
No, they're not a part of a series. They're each standalone novels. However, I do enjoy bringing characters from one story into the other, minor characters in, because I enjoyed their stories, so I brought them. For example, in Irish Encounter, one of the minor characters is Agnes. She shows up when Ellen gets back to North Carolina, and then you see her again in Rescued Hearts just for a little bit. Rescued Hearts is my only romantic suspense. I never expected to write suspense, but an idea popped into my head when I was riding my bike in a few years ago. I live out in the country, and I was riding my bike by an abandoned house, and the ideas started to come, questions started to come, and I started answering the questions and playing around with those answers, and all those answers developed into this Rescued Hearts. It's also set in North Carolina.
I see the bicycle as a cue on the cover, and I see a kitty cat. Is there significance to that cat in the storyline?
Yes, the kitten is significant in the first chapter. It's what makes the main character get off the bike, and then leads to the kidnapping, the quick kidnapping. So yes,
Okay.
that little kitten is important to the beginning of the story. And then Forever Music is also set in North Carolina, and it's set in Charlotte. I used to live in Charlotte, met my husband in Charlotte, so I have a heart for Charlotte, and I enjoy that city, and that's why I set Forever Music in there. I also enjoy playing a few instruments, and so there's a music thread, as the title indicates, but it's.
And so on the slide, Hope, there's a link to your website. I'm assuming that if folks click on that website, they'll get more detail on the books and your background.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I did notice when I went to the to one link that we share something in common. You have twin boys who are now young men, and I have twin daughters. So here we go. We're both in that mother-father of twins club, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's double blessings.
It is a double blessing. Well, I included in our final slide the notion that it is your idea and it's your story, and I even included another work that you published. I thought you might share a little bit about that title, about Mars with Venus rising.
Sure. Thank you for the opportunity. A lot of people have misunderstood this. People in my own family, in fact, my husband's aunt thought it is science fiction, and I'm not a science fiction fan. Mars is a real town in Pennsylvania. It's right outside, north of Pittsburgh, and we used to live in another little town, Gibsonia, near Mars, and it's a funny little place. They have a real oh, I can't even think what it's the the thing that aliens fly around, a saucer, a flying saucer. They have a flying saucer up on the town square. So it's just a fun, quirky little town. And Venus rising, Venus is the planet of love. And so I thought it was a fun play on words, Mars with Venus rising, because it's a love story. And when I wrote Irish Encounter, several people thought I was writing about myself. They said, "Oh, Ellen Shepherd is you, Hope." And I said, "No, she isn't." In fact, my husband said, "Well, you've killed me off," because she starts as a widow in the story. And so when I wrote about Mars, I wanted to make sure nobody could mistake me for Penn Davenport, the main character in Mars. So she's a math teacher. She loves math, and she is 20 something. So she's completely different on all angles from me. And I love that story because it's set near Pittsburgh, and I loved living in Pittsburgh, and I love introducing Pittsburgh and Western Pennsylvania to people who read that story. But people kind of stay away from it because of the title, maybe, or other reasons, but it is a fun, kind of quirky story.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing that. You know, I'm so thrilled to be able to recommend these books at hiddentreasurenovels.com. And I wanted to take a moment here, Hope, to see if there were any other final thoughts you have for the audience. Many of the readers and many of the viewers in this video today and asynchronously down the road are in fact aspiring authors. They're writers, but they're looking for a path. Do you have any words of wisdom you can share for those folks?
I think it's important to take your writing seriously. If you write every day, if you set aside time, if people in your family, if your friends see you taking it seriously, then I think they're going to be more prone to take it seriously also. They'll see that it's important to you. It's not just a hobby or something that you do sometimes. But it's something that's important to you, and you have your goal, and so they'll be more likely to support you and take you seriously. So I think it's important to say, yes, this is something I want to do, and I'm going to set about doing it.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And so with those words of encouragement, everyone out there, the potential authors, writers, I encourage you to take Hope's advice. Mrs. Dougherty, I thank you so much for your time. I thank you all, the viewers out there, and those of you who will watch this. If you are an aspiring author and you'd like to learn more, contact us at hiddentreasurenovels.com. If you are an author and you'd like to participate in this interview series of lessons learned, reach out to us again at the HDN channel. We look forward to seeing all of you and wish you a very happy new year. Thank you so much, Hope. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Vincent. I enjoyed talking with you this morning.
Thank you.